So today we're continuing with our series of 5 topics that you need to discuss before you get married. And today's topic is how you, as a married couple, are going to decide to deal with conflict. So people obviously are raised differently. You and your spouse are going to grow up in 2 separate households, and even in a black household, like we were both raised in black Christian households, but the way we were parented or our families handled things, conflict especially, completely different.
Yeah, so in my household, we didn't really talk about our feelings. When we had conflict, we would fight, but after that, we didn't really resolve anything or go in depth about it. We just brushed past it and moved on.
Yeah. And in my household, completely the opposite. After you got your whooping or whatever the case may be, then my mom or my dad or whoever it was that disciplined you sat down and they talked with you. And we would sit there for sometimes hours. We would be crying and yelling and, this and this and that, all within respect, obviously. But at the end of it, we would come to some resolution or understanding rather that day. And then of course my mom would always make us hug and, big love fest before we end the night or the argument or whatever.
Yeah, and going into a relationship with 2 different ways to resolve conflict, you bump heads a lot.
You bump heads a lot because there's going to be problems, but the idea is to come to agreement with how it is you're going to go about resolving those problems.
So so in our conflicts, I would just get up and leave, or I would just stay silent, or I would say, okay, you win,
Or hang up on me.
or hang up, walk out. I mean, we've been together for 13 years, so.
And so what she would never understand, when you hang up on me or when you just walk out of the room and I'm talking to you, that used to cut me deep. Like that used to really, really hurt. You say, oh, be a man, suck it up, yada, yada, yada. But that's just not how I was raised. That we sat there and we dealt with issues till wee hours in the morning. And so when she wasn't willing to do that with me, sometimes, I kind of took it personal. I got really upset. Likewise, though, there are merits to the way she handled things. It's not always a great idea to sit there for 4 hours discussing the same problem. So I had to kind of learn from her, and it happened over time. But I just learned from her that, sometimes I got to give people space. I got to leave it alone. I can't solve everything right away. And I can't solve everything. Sometimes I'm not perfect. I have to listen to someone else or just back off for a while, which is hard for me.
And for me, I had to learn how to stay around, to dig deep and find really what's going on. He might have irritated me or done something to make me mad and we just blow up on each other. But what's the root cause?
Right.
Go deeper than that. Talk about your feelings. I didn't, if you know me, I don't like hugging. I don't like the frame embrace. I hug it out. That's not me.
She likes my hugs though. She do like my car.
Girl, come here.
Anyway, so I mean, we learned those from experience, and we had dated, like I said, for 8 years before we got married, but it wasn't really till we got married that we actually started learning those things about one another. But long story short, what I'm trying to say is we learned those from experience. It might be beneficial, I think, definitely, to discuss how you're going to work out problems.
So some things that we try to implement when trying to resolve conflict in a relationship is, firstly, you want to be respectful. You want to be mindful of the sensitive areas. You know what makes your spouse tick. So don't be looking to make them mad and make them angry with the things you say. Philip is a man. I don't want to be emasculating him and tearing him down when we're arguing. That's not right.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, that's perfectly said. You want to be respectful when you're arguing. You're not there to attack the other person.
No.
It's not a fight that you're trying to win. You want a win-win solution. So again, insults, no good. Things that irritate them, leave it alone. Attacking them in places where they're sensitive, avoid it. That's not going to help you solve the problem.
So secondly, you want to be able to have a time when you're going to come back together if you can't talk about it right now. If you need that space, if you need to go drive off into the night for a little bit, take that time But when you come back together, you need to be prepared to have that conversation.
Yeah, been there on a couple, drives out in the middle of the night. But the main thing is you don't want to have that conversation and try to solve a problem while you're still mad, because you're going to be working from that anger and you're likely going to attack. You're likely not going to be listening. So you want to give yourself a chance to cool down, and then when you're ready to have that conversation, have it and stay for it. And so the last thing, of course, that we try and implement is listen. Listen with intent. So you want to be open to their feelings, to what they're saying, not just hearing them, but really listening and validating what they're saying. They're not sharing with you or talking to you to try and hurt you or to try and get at you or win the fight. They're there for the right reason. They're just sharing with you how it is that they feel. So you need to be open and understand that the person that you love is sharing with you something serious about how they feel, and you need to be receptive to that message.
So a takeaway here from this is it's not going to happen overnight. Everything comes with time and maturity and growth.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like we said, you want to have the plan in place because conflict is going to come. So have the plan for how you're going to deal with that conflict. But what my wife is saying, even having the plan, you're not always going to, abide by the plan. And unfortunately, sometimes it, will fall through. But you still should have the plan. Just real quick, a quote from Mr. Henry Ford, which I just really enjoy. It's, if there is any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. So again, you want to get their mind state, their feeling state, and you want to understand your own. And that's the only way you'll come to an amicable resolution when you fight.
Yes. And always remember, you were raised differently, but you have to come together. You're one now.
Right.
You're going to be one. So the Bible says, a house divided against itself can't stand.
Right.
You can't do it. You can't do it on your own power. You have to lean on God, and you have to come together.
Right. So that's it for us. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And anything you want to add, babe?
Till next week, love each other.